Okay, so there was a series of questions that we had to do. Some of the big ticketed items are 5, 8, 9, 12, 15, 16, 18, 19, and 20. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those. First one, 5. Which of the following is not a polynomial? That was an easy one, but too many people missed that one. That one, which one is not a polynomial? A polynomial can be, well, if you actually went through and named A, well, A is a binomial, so that's, oh, you're crossing that one out. C is a trinomial, and that one is good. B is a monomial, so by default, D is the only one that's a rational expression. So that's the one you got to kind of go with. Next big ticket item was number 8. So number 8, all you have to do is multiply by the conjugate. So if you multiply by the conjugate, you're going to go over x, like that guy right there. And then the upstairs gets you x plus radical 3x over, and if you FOIL the bottom one out, that gives you x minus 3. So x plus radical x over x minus 3, that's going to give you c, right? That takes care of that one. Then number 9. Number 9 is a free response question. And that one, if an object is dropped at blah, 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 you put 0 in. And really, you could do this a couple ways. They want to know when's the height that it reaches the ground. So if you graph it, you can get an answer real easily. But for this one, what you can do is you can actually subtract 73 and you get this guy right here, and then divide by negative 16. So t is not going to be plus and minus, it's just going to be the square root of 73 over 16. So then you just literally just punch it in your calculator. And if I punch it in my calculator, and of course I'm not going to graph it, but if I punch it in my calculator, I'm literally just going to take the square root of, and what was it again? The square root of 73 over 16. So the square root is 73 divided by 16. It's going to give me 2.13 seconds. Now, if you graph it, it does the same thing too, but whatever. So that's that guy. That's number 9. Then we're looking at number 12. Number 12 says solve by taking the square roots of both sides. If you take the square root of both sides, you get 2x plus 4, and you get plus and minus 5. Then then you subtract 4. So you subtract 4 plus or minus 5. So you actually have two equations. You have 2x equals negative 4 plus 5, which is 1, and 2x equals negative 9. So then when you divide by 2, you get x equals 1 half and x equals negative 9 over 2. Of course, I did accept 4.5 if that's the one you wanted to use. Moving on to number 15. 15 is also a free response one. 15, I can solve rational equations. It tells you exactly what you got to do. Now, for this one, the very first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to factor. So can you factor the numerator? Can you factor the denominator? But you don't even really have to do that because realistically, well, actually there's two things here. When you solve for this, you only have to solve for the numerator. So you got negative 4x squared minus 7x minus 3 equals 0. Now you factor that, or you do it by completing the square, or you do quadratic formula, whichever way you want to do, that's how you do it. The most important part about this is that you go back and you check your answers. So just kind of reiterate, I'm going to factor this, but I want to factor downstairs too. If I factor this guy downstairs, I got x here and I got x here, and I believe it's a, so you can't factor that. And so you're going to have to do the quadratic formula or completing the square or something. So we do quadratic formula x equals negative b. So that's 7 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 49, minus 4ac all over negative 8. Then when you do all that business, you get 7 plus or minus the square root of 1 all over 8. Well, what's the square root of 1? It's 1. So 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 over 8 is 1. 7 minus 1 is 6. I'm sorry, that's negative 1. And then 7 minus 1 is negative 6 over 8, which reduces to negative 3/4. And of course, you want to go back and see if those work. So that's number 15. Now we got to do number 16. Number 16 is interesting because you have to solve this inequality, and it's actually really easy. It's just like algebra, always what we do, and put it in interval notation. So let me go ahead and erase this stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do number 16 now. This guy, you got 10x minus 15 is less than or equal to 11x plus 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 10x. Subtract 10x. I get negative 15 is less than or equal to x plus 6. I'm going to take away 6. I'm going to take away 6. I get negative 21 is less than or equal to x. Now if I rewrite this, this is x is greater than or equal to negative 21. And as interval notation, you go negative 21, comma, infinity. That is where a lot of people missed question number 6. You failed to do the interval notation. You didn't read the directions. You did not read the directions. Going on to number 18, when you go to 18, if you're going to 18, number 18 says solve the equation expressed in each solution in a plus bi form. That means that you can't say that you have no real solutions. That's duh, because they ask you to put it in a plus bi form. So if you put it in a plus bi form, that means you're going to get complex answers, which we've done before. So you can solve this any way you want. I'm going to go ahead and subtract. It's positive 3. I'm going to subtract and make that negative 8. That's a squared. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. I get negative 8/3. And then I'm going to take the square root. X equals plus or minus the square root of negative 8 over 3. Now when you do negative 8/3, when you do that, you have to know how to rationalize the denominator and all that. So we got plus or minus square root of negative 8 over the square root of 3. Now, I don't like that, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. So now what do I have? I have plus or minus negative radical 24 over 3, and I got to break down that radical 24. So I'm going to break down that radical 24 into, what's that going to be? 4, negative 1, 4, and 6, and that's all over 3. So then I get plus or minus 2i radical 6 all over 3. And that's how you get number, what was that, number 18. Okay. Now we got to go ahead and do number 19 and we got to do number 20. Number 19, number 20 are kind of sneaky, very, very sneaky. The biggest reason why everyone missed number 19 was because you didn't read the directions again. It says write it in exponential form. So that's a trick. So exponential form, well, what you can do is you can do it as 18. If you did this, you could do 18xy cubed all to the half. And technically, you're done. But if you did it like this, if you did square root of 18, square root of x, and square root of y cubed, and you break down the square root of 18 into radical 9, radical 2, radical x, radical y squared, and radical y, the radical 9 and the y squared come out and you get 3x, and then inside the radical you get, I'm sorry, you get 3y. And inside the radical you get 2xy, but you're not quite, and that's what a lot of you did, but it says exponential form. So exponential form is 3y, and then you can go 2xy to the 1/2, right? And then this last one, it says simplify the expression without using a calculator. This was sneaky. This one was really sneaky, and this was kind of like a super duper advanced factoring or super duper advanced multiplying problem. But do you remember when we did exponents, we said that the rules apply? So the rules still apply. If we FOIL this guy, 7x 9.5, that's going to give me 49x. And when we do this, we add our stuff. So it's 18 over 2. And then this guy right here is going to give me negative 36 y to the 10 over 2. And when you do that, and the oi, the inner side stuff, those go away. So that's going to be 49x to the 9th minus 36y to the 5th. So it's really not anything that you should have any problem with. I believe that covers all the big ticket items. If there is something specific you want to go over, we can talk about it Wednesday in a Zoom, or you can text me and I'll send you a link to the Zoom and we can go over it. But take a look at this and have a nice day, and may the force be with you.